Welcome back to the Trackmania podcast. Today I'm here with a face cam, and that's because my streamer today isn't, or my guest today is a streamer, and therefore he isn't shy like most of my guests. So he's one of the few guests who actually said yes to doing this with a webcam. Some people like it, some people just have it in the background anyway. But Turbo, the most important question and the most important thing to say is welcome to the podcast. How are you, man?
Hello, welcome to anyone who's watching right now. I'm good. How about you, man?
Yeah, after some technical problems for the 30 minutes, I'm good. You should think I should be used to it. I've probably done like 80 podcasts now, but still, every podcast I have some problems with getting the headset to work and the microphone to work. But glad to have some people in the background to help me with you and S.
Yeah,
But
that's pretty
for,
good.
yeah, the most important or the question I always ask is how did you get into Chuckmania? What do we need to know about you before we get into the real hardcore stuff of the Chuckmania scene?
So, I mean, it all started way back in 2009. So, beginning of 2009. Oh my god, I'm playing this game for almost 11 years.
That's
This is
10-year
insane.
anniversary.
So, I remember I got my first laptop in the age of 12, kind of very or 11? No, wait, 11, the age of 11. So way back then, I got my first laptop. And then a friend of mine just showed me Trackmania. And I downloaded it because I really loved racing games back then. I played a lot of Need for Speed on the PS2. And so I got really obsessed by that game, played it a lot, but wasn't really that good at that time. But just had some fun. And then after a while, I just asked my father, "Yo, could you buy me Trackmania United?" And he was very. It was very good because he actually bought me the game, and then I got more into Trackmania United, got better, and yeah, therefore I kind of improved over the couple of years, got better into the game. Yeah, so that's kind of my story, roughly summarized.
Hmm. And in 2009, how old were you then?
11, 11
11.
years
Okay, so you're
old.
21 years old now, if my math works.
I mean, I'm 2008, so the year was not over.
Yeah, okay, okay.
When I turned 12 in 2009. I'm 22 now.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yes,
Still a young boy.
yeah, indeed.
But do you remember all the way back then, 10 years ago, what was the map you played? What was the first impression you had of the game itself?
Yeah, that's actually a really fun story because because my friend told me, "Yo, you can't chat in the game and something like that." And I remember I booted up AO1 in single player and tried to chat, and it didn't work. I was
Oh.
like, "What the fuck? Why doesn't it work?" So that was a really fun experience. Yeah,
So A1 was the first impression you had of the game.
yeah.
Huh. And did you stick to Nadeo maps then for a long time, like the campaign itself, or did you eventually find out there was an online scene as well?
I think I got really fast onto online servers because my friend of mine, I wanted to play with him, and eventually I got some times on luck maps, but I didn't know that they were pretty good, and he was really surprised by that. But yeah, I was just a lucky boy
Is
back
that
then.
why the name Lucker's Turbo?
Kind of. I mean, I mean the leader or the former leader and me. So we have two leaders, me and Asi. But Asi left, and now the second leader is Furex, who's doing a really good job at the moment by just yeah try to get some new people into the clan. Hef has joined very recently, just because we are one of the most active clans out there in Trackmania Nations. But I mean, we just thought about a clan name, so I think it's just a bit arbitrary that we got the name, and because we played a lot of LoL maps back then, it was only because of that.
But go back then to the start of your history in teams and clans. How long did it take before you got asked or asked someone to join a clan?
Um, so I played on a LoL server back then, and it was a clan called Ganja Group.
Oh
Of
yeah,
course, of course, I didn't know what was the meaning of it back then. And then there
12-year-old Ganja group guy.
And then there was a clan, the French clan Canapro, which is now NCT, or was the new Scrubs team now. So NCT, NSC. Maybe you know these clans with Sativa
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Steph.
Yep.
So those clans were there, and I really admired the skill from both the leaders, Dimitri and G Style was his name back then. And he was really like I really looked up to him, and tried to really go into the clan, but I didn't get asked to because I was too bad. But eventually, I joined the clan Genja group for like some months or so, and then afterwards I just left because I got inactive again.
Hmm. Why did you get inactive? What the other games you started to play, or
Yeah, there were other games like I played a lot of Call of Duty back then, even on a quite okay level. And I mean, Trackmania was kind of or is the right is the red line for my gaming career, as I can say, because I play Trackmania, then I go to a different game, but I always come back to Trackmania, and I think that's a phenomenon which is occurring for a lot of Trackmania players I've talked to.
yeah? And how long was that break? That inactivity? Was it a long break or was it like a couple of months?
I think only a couple of months, but summarized, I think I took a break from the game for around 2 years, maybe
Okay.
3. I
Hmm.
don't know.
But what was the point you got back into it? Was it someone you watched on stream? Was it a YouTube video? Was it just yourself? Okay, I'm gonna boot up this game. How did you eventually got the trigger point to get back into it then again?
That's actually a good question that I can't really answer in that way, but I think it's just that I watched a lot of YouTube videos back then,
Yeah,
and I think just the game itself, you have it on your desktop, you're just watching your desktop, and just I could play Trackmania again or whatever, or just think about it in general. Because when you play a game for so long, it just sticks in your mind. Maybe you
yeah,
know that.
yeah. That's for sure. Uh, One of my first interaction with you was when you streamed. I joined random streamers said, "Hey, you want to play my maps?" And you was on this mini LoL server where I had
Ah,
some
yeah.
couple maps. I went into the server, juked my maps, and you played them. Can you tell the real truth here? How was my LoL maps back then? Because you have basically played more or less all kind of LoL maps in the game.
I guess I know even which map that was. It was with a kind of water section,
Ah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you had to drive on the blue border and
yeah.
had to get like a random bounce. So I only know that map. I
That's one of the
mean,
classics.
yeah, and I think your maps were fine, but I didn't really like that map too much. I have to say, sorry, but I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
feel
yeah.
offended. But
No, I don't.
I mean, I started mapping myself because I'm organizing a cup at the moment,
Ah, yeah.
like an
But
all around competition.
okay, but if you stick to the LoL map mapping concept and driving maps, how would you describe a LoL map itself? For me, it just seems like a map that isn't calculated but can just be fun. How should we describe a LoL map?
I mean, a low map should have some fun elements, maybe like a drift transition or something like that. But maybe between tech and Zerator, I mean,
Yeah,
the map has to be stable in some way. That you have to do the I don't know ramp cut or something like that in a in a good manner that you can do it almost every time. But also there can be some drifts or some good alignments that you can approach or something like that. It's really hard to describe. I really agree with that. But I think if I should define a lawn map, it's the length of it. So maybe 10 to 20 to 25 seconds.
hmm. If there is anybody watching now or listening and want to play some LoL maps, is there a guy or a builder that is better than others? Let's say we have some tech builder that is more known than others, like Thompson, MD Points, and such. Is that also in the LoL map scene?
So here in Trackmania Nations, you have, for example, the mapper LOL Sports. But I certainly don't like this maps because for the simple reason that he builds 5 maps and those 5 maps are just different or differentiate by one turn or like one
Yeah.
element in the ending.
Okay.
And I really don't like that map because this is quantity over quality. But thinking about the map itself, ooh, hello? Okay,
Oh.
my screen got dark and I was what the fuck is going on?
You have some technical problems here as well, right?
And I don't know. I think there are a lot of guys who actually build good LoL maps, but there is not a name that really stick into my mind right now.
Hmm. And then if you get into the topic of you as a builder yourself, you said you build maps now for your own 1,000 follower tournament. Have you built maps before? Like back in the days, you had a 10-year long history in the game, but is this your first time building, or has you also had some sort of history with building maps?
So of course, I tried to build maps with shit transitions and all that, but it didn't really work out. And I didn't really get obsessed by the map editor itself because I just left it for others because I thought I'm here to drive and not to build maps. That was kind of
Yeah.
my attitude for it. I built like 3 or 4 maybe United maps. I can think about a Bay Coast and guess Rally map that I've built, but not more than that.
Hmm. But do you think I spoken to Capos now won the Team WC and the Team GL after he quit building maps? Do you think that you can be a good map builder as well as being a good driver, or does one part of Trackmania take up too much time for the other one to work out in a good way?
So, I mean, the first time I really started mapping was 2 days ago or one day ago.
Yeah,
And I had Firestorm in my chat, and we started off with making a tech map. And he said that I did a great job just with everything. And I think Kesla was also there. So, two experienced mappers with
yeah,
that. And I think mapping is something that you can really lose yourself into. I looked onto my stream uptime and was 5 hours, and I was, what the fuck is going on? But I really had fun, and I think when you have the experience in the game, you know what kind of transition is good or what is, yeah, like what the car can do or what speed you have there, what alternative line, if there could be a cut or something like that. So maybe this is an advantage that you can actually, as a good player, build also good maps.
mm, yeah. And then talking about streaming, that was my first interaction with you, and that is maybe why most people know you. But how was your start of the streaming career, and what year was that?
So my first stream in general was in Call of Duty way back in 2013. But that's something else. My first stream in Trackmania was in 2015.
Mm,
And I just thought, you know what, I could play on the mini LoL server because there were always 40 players playing on it. And I thought that this would be a great opportunity. Maybe that a guy who's third or fourth clicks on my stream because I was almost all the time I was first on the server, if not Plasterex or other guys were playing on it, of course.
yeah.
But then they looked, yo, how did he do that or these? And eventually they followed me, and I grew up like 5 to 10 viewers at a time. And that was like my first interaction with Trackmania. That was a lot of fun.
Hmm. But had you watched other Trackmania streamers then before? Like you said, you started with streaming Call of Duty, but during your streaming Call of Duty, did you watch some Trackmania streamers? Or was your first interaction with Trackmania streaming yourself streaming it?
I think in Call of Duty, I didn't really know that there could have even been someone who streamed Trackmania, and I think there was no one at that time. When I started streaming, I know that I watched Spam because he played the TTC,
Hmm.
and I watched Riolo very, very early. I think start of 2016, I began to follow him.
Hmm. But then, what for people that might not know your streaming content nowadays? How would you sum up your stream? Is there any way to sum it up, or is it just how you feel during that day? What content you will stream?
So right now, I mean, I had a little bit of a break, and before that, I focused on mini LoL maps, hunting some RPG maps like Red Fox, tried to push it to the WR, but also like interacting with the viewers, playing other games. This is not the major content, but also it's a thing for me. And of course, Trackmania Turbo. So before the Zerator Cup, I really played a lot of Trackmania Turbo, got some Super Track Masters, and that's what I'm doing at the moment for most of the time. But I really want to get more into LoL maps, but on Trackmania 2 this time.
Hmm. That's always something I thought about. Since your name is Turbo, you have now the game Trackmania Turbo. How did you feel when they said, "Okay, the next game is going to be Trackmania Turbo"? Did you then regret that you name yourself Turbo, or was it something like, "Okay, this is just cool, and maybe this can actually bring some more attention to my own profile"?
So I think in general, it's an embarrassing story how I found out that nickname.
Let's go.
So I had a cool tee. It was like that, you
Okay.
know, from like a table, like I don't know the sign table, I think,
Yeah.
like some old codes. And I just searched for cool nicknames with T on the internet, like 2010. And then I saw Turbo, and I was, you know what? I'm playing a racing game. I should call
Yeah.
myself Turbo. And that's this is no joke. eventually that's how I got my name. And I would say that this is a really, really like common or default name. And I've seen a lot of players actually have picked up that they have picked up that name as well. But
Yeah.
when Trackmania Turbo came out, I was a bit memeing around. Turbo is playing Turbo, my game. But that got a bit, yeah, it's not funny. So yeah,
But
that's
how would you sum up Trackmania Turbo then? You said you played it yourself, but how would you sum up the game overall? Let's say compared to Trackmania 2, Trackmania Nations, the Forever like you play.
dead.
Dead?
Yeah, I mean, it's only the single player. I was really hyped with that because I thought that I could play with a United team around Aurel, Furex, and those guys, Team Air. Way back in Trackmania United, they were very active, and I joined that team right before Trackmania Turbo came out. And I thought, yo, this could be a nice opportunity to go competitive or to play this game on a competitive level. But that was the complete opposite because no one played it online. No one played
Yeah.
it online. Everyone went for the single player, and I did so as well. And I quit on a lagoon map with some sand surface, and then I didn't touch the game for 2 years.
Oh damn. So would you could be then, if you sum up the overall release of Trackmania Turbo for Trackmania as a whole, would you say that it's a failure or would you say that it's somewhat a success?
I mean, it's an arcade game, and concerning the sold products on for the console, it's a success. But for the competitive scene, or for players like who are a bit better in the game and want to yeah, like do something more than play against other players in single player, it's kind of a not success. I wouldn't say a failure, but it
Yeah.
had way more potential than that.
Hmm. You said that you wanted to get into the competitive scene, but how would you summarize your competitive career in Trackmania? Would you say that you have competed at someone, or is the main part of your Trackmania run hunting lol maps and such?
Okay, that was my mother interrupting me. I'm
she,
sorry.
she, she can join the stream if she wants.
No, no, she needs to sleep now.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Okay, can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, you said that Trackmania Turbo was maybe a way that you could get into the competitive scene, but how would you summarize your competitive career in Trackmania?
So I would say that I'm not really a competitive player in general. So when there was the Rater Cup or some shorter competitions, I tried hard. I remember at the Rater Cup 4 or 5, something like that. I really trained a lot with Plasterex and with Daniel, who eventually made it up to the quarterfinal. That
Oh
was
yeah,
really cool for us. But Plasterex and me, we went out in the round of 8. We really tried hard there. But before that, I would really say that I've never really participated in really competitive levels. I mean, I played TTC, but I wouldn't not consider that one to competitive playing.
but is there any reason why you haven't competed in, let's say, some matches, try to become, let's say, the best player in the world? Because when I meet you in real life, we play bowling. I see that you are a competitive guy. So why haven't you sort of taken a step to become one of these tech players, or like Riolo plays every other competition besides tech?
Um, So I think I my main focus was on getting connected with people over the game and really play time attack with them and make it that kind of competition who gets the best time on each track or like hunt the track till death. So unless someone has the WR, but not really get into competitions. And another fact is that I'm playing, or I used to mainly play Trackmania Nations instead of Trackmania 2.
Yeah. But why do you stick to Trackmania Nation forever then, when you have a more solid competitive platform on Trackmania too?
I think it's the clan that really helped me on Trackmania Nations way back then. All the people I remember the incident with Teo when he had that terrible car accident.
Mm.
I remember that I played every day with him, every day on the same server, on the mini law server or whatever. And then he wasn't online for 3 or 4 days, and I was, what the fuck? What is going on with Teo? And then I just heard from Plasterex from the Skype chat that he had an accident. So you really can see that the community in Nations was so close together that everyone played with each other on the server. That was really good, and I think that's what really helped me into the older game.
Yeah. Yeah. How would you summarize the community in Trackmania Nation forever? like you said, it's hard for people to leave because it seems like you're a so close group. Everybody plays with each other. Everybody knows each other, and there is a lot of activity happening around in Japan Nation Forever.
So I can only tell you what it was like some months ago, because right now I'm not really into
Yeah.
Trackmania Nations, as I've already mentioned. But I would say that it's really hard to get into that community. I remember when Polmar, for example, started playing the game. He was not the best player, but he improved a lot. But it was so hard for him to really get onto our skill level. Of course, everyone is nice in the community, everyone is a good guy. But this is for Trackmania in general like that. But it's so hard for a player to come into the community if you start the game right now.
Hmm. And is that something we should try to work on? Because eventually everybody wants more players in Trackmania, but once we get new players, there might be would say a hard feelings towards new player. At least when you have this Radar Cup, people come in and say, "Okay, you don't know the true face of the game, so you only know the Raider." Do you think that we should maybe be more kind towards new people who actually want to come into Trackmania?
I think we are actually very kind to new players, because
Mm.
I mean, when I see, for example, in Riolo stream, a player's coming in and says, "Yo, I watched that, I don't know, TMGL final video, and now I came to your Twitch channel because I saw you live," or whatever. And the community or the chat is answering every question regarding Trackmania, and I think we're actually very open-minded what new players, yeah, is concerning.
Hmm. And do you think that we will get more players in the future? Will it stick around like the same level? How do you see the future of Trackmania as a whole?
So I think that it could actually. Yeah, I have no idea what Nadeo has planned, but I think with a, I don't know, maybe Mania Planet 5 or whatever, I don't know, or some updates, because we saw before the Zerator Cup, the new blocks were
Yeah.
implemented. And I think this was a big hype for Trackmania in general. And I think that the TMGL season one could also be a very good point.
Hmm. But what would you say is the most or a key point to actually bring this game forward? Is it releasing a new game, updating Trackmania 2, supporting Trackmania Grand League, supporting Zerator Cup? What is the key point we should look after for the game to grow?
I think it's kind of the long term motivation for a new player to pick it up. How to explain it? Maybe to have like a kind of rank system in the game that is that kind of matters, not like the ladder system, and no one really gives a fuck about it.
Yeah.
So something like that, maybe,
Hmm.
that you have something in Counter Strike like like the ranks there.
Like matchmaking or.
Yes, something. I mean, I don't know how hard this is to be implemented, but I think this is a step into the right direction,
Hmm.
or it could be, but I don't know.
Yeah, we have to see. But do you think the future is great then? If you have to give a guess, how long do you, or how do you see the future for Trackmania?
For 2020,
Yeah, and longer into the future, 5 years, do you think the game overall will grow or stabilize at the current point?
I think it will grow.
Hmm. And why? Why? Is it just because the game is getting more visibility from Zerator? Is it because Nadeo getting more involved? Why do you think the future is great? Because you see some people actually leaving Trackmania nowadays because they don't believe in the future.
So um, I I recently did a lot of commentary, or two commentaries with Riolo.
Mm,
Maybe you've seen them,
yep.
and I just showed my friends because they were interested in what I'm doing on Twitch, because they were kind of interested in that. We just came to that topic, and I just showed them the clip of yeah, Bren and who was
Pack.
Peck crashing into the
Yeah.
pole. And I think what's really really important for a title which is esportive, that you have to comprehend what's going on. If
Mm,
you're watching League of Legends and you have no idea about
yeah,
the game,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
not understanding it. And I think the simplicity of Trackmania itself makes it really like interesting for not even smaller streamers, but also for bigger streamers who maybe watch it or support the game in general.
yeah. Yeah, let's then talk about you said that you are casting yourself, then you have the job to actually bring out the information to viewers who is watching this maybe for the first time. How do you think yourself in the mentality of your casting? Is it like I'm casting to the hardcore scene that knows pretty much everything? Is it casting towards new people? How would you say the mentality of your casting is aimed towards the viewers?
So if we, for example, cast on Riolo's channel, we know that they most of the time are players who actually play the game a bit longer, and therefore I kind of think that most of them know what's going on. But
Yeah,
I mean, to describe a gear down or whatever, it's not too hard to really not to understand. So I think a player who or a person who joins in the stream and watches this for the first time, it is actually not that hard to to see what's going on because the car is driving and eventually you're faster or you're not faster because you're taking this line or that
yeah.
line. And Riolo and me in that point, just explained what went wrong or right there in
Mm.
that point.
Yeah, and talking about casting, you mentioned Riolo, who is maybe the king of casting at the moment.
He
But
is.
below him, this doesn't seem like there is too many English casters taking all the opportunities. There's a lot of events not being casted. How would you summarize the casting scene as a caster yourself? Is it growing or is it mainly Riolo and some others like yourself?
So I think we have a lot of great casters or a lot of good guys who can actually could cast, for example, virtual or spam, maybe even other guys who I'm not having on track at the moment. But I think both of them, especially spam on Zerator Cup 4, showed that he can cast. And
Yeah.
virtual, I mean, it's virtual. He's just a synthetic guy, and he could do it as well. But for me, right now, I'm trying to like find casts. But for example, the cup that was played out yesterday,
Yep.
where Gwen won, I didn't even know that there wasn't an English caster.
Yeah.
So I just could have asked, and this was like a missed opportunity for me. But other than that, right now I'm trying to like cast a lot of things because I really want to get into casting compared to playing because I
Yeah.
think that I have some potential in that. Hopefully, this doesn't sound cocky, but I really have fun in casting, and maybe I can improve more.
Hmm. But if you talk about, like you said, you missed out on yesterday's opportunity. But who do you say is at fault for English casters not streaming? Is it the job of the organizers to find an English caster, like they have someone that is actually an official caster, or is it the job of the casters to then find events to cast?
Um, so I mean, it depends. It depends if the casters really want, um, the player base to know about that cup and make it for the next edition more popular because they're seeing, yo, this is a cool cup, and I want to play that one. But on the other hand, it's I don't know. I mean, for some, at some point, I would say that it's the caster's job, but I
Yeah.
think both of them have to ask.
Hmm.
So I think for me it's actually 50-50. I got asked and I ask organizations, but if I see, for example, yeah, I don't know, the cup yesterday, I mean, just think about it. If they would have asked Riolu or me or whoever and he would have casted it, this would have been 500 viewers for him just on
Yeah.
Riolu's side yet now. So this is like a lot of attention for it. So it's like wasted kind of.
Hmm. But you said that if you want to look into the future yourself, you want to be a caster. Is it safe to say that that is going to be your key point, or is it to be a streamer as well, a caster, a player, to kind of combine everything? Or have you picked casting as the main part in your future for Trackmania?
So I would not set that in stone, but I started casting this year. I casted a lot of stuff, the New Harry Cup, the Elite
Yeah.
Cup qualifications, and all that. And I had a lot of fun doing it. And I would not set that one in stone because I'm a decent player as well. So I just want to see where the journey will take me.
Hmm. And then if you talk about casting, from my understanding, Riolo wants to play the season one of the Trackmania Grand League and then not focus on casting. Is that one of the biggest opportunities you can have in the game, maybe to be the official casters of the Trackmania Grand League?
I mean, this would be actually a dream that would come true. But yeah, we will see. Nothing I know nothing about that. I mean, I know that Riolo wants to drop out,
Yeah.
but I don't know who could be the face next to Radiance. But I could, I mean, I could only dream of that I could cast with Radiance.
Yeah, there is not too many English casters, so your chances are good if you actually put your name out there, right?
Who do I have to ask?
Yeah, the name is Softy B, I guess.
Okay.
But then talking about Trackmania Grand League as a concept overall, we had 1 year of a beta season running. How would you sum up the Trackmania Grand League, and how much have you followed it?
So I've watched every Sunday for the qualification, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't play the maps myself because I was busy at that time. Of course, I'll try to. I try to. Yeah, maybe for the next season, I will hunt the maps or so. But I think the concept is really great. I'm not sure about the if you are ninth or 10th place or below that you lose your
Yeah,
points. I'm not sure how they should handle that because if you're on the last map and you lose all your points, that's just that's just shit, kind of.
yeah.
So
But
I
is there
like it.
any? Go ahead.
Huh? I like the concept itself that you have 16 players who are the best. Maybe not from the region, but I really like that concept in
Hmm.
general.
But are you surprised then if you look at the top players this season? You can mention Kappa, of course, who won it. Carl Jr., who won the group stage. Pack, who also dominated the group stage. Are you surprised that those three names are also viewed as the best tech players in the scene? Did you expect more multi-style players or players like Papu, who is good at dirt, to actually beat those tech players?
I mean, most of the tracks are you eventually have to drift. So I think the tech players tend to kind of hunt the track a bit more because there is more competition in tech compared to dirt or whatever, and maybe they are pushing it more and more there. So the question was if there's a connection between the tech tech players
Yeah,
and the TMGL itself. I don't know. I think they're just good players in general.
yeah,
I mean, you see players like Roland who came from Trackmania Nations and really did a great job as well, if you ask me.
yeah. But then if you hear that there's going to be 16 players, and those are going to be 16 selected players for season one, if you look at the players and you could pick the players, who would you pick? Is there any names that you maybe didn't see in the beta season that you want to see compete in the season one?
Yeah, Riolu, of course, because he's showing in his stream and in general that he is one of the best players. Thinking of another German player, I could actually see Massa as well. Um, Maybe Aurel, who unfortunately didn't make it as well.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and I don't know. I can't think of another name right now. Um,
I
I
have
think
a
there.
name for you. The guy who won yesterday, Gwen. I want to see him in the season one. 15 years old and is beating pretty much every event at the moment.
Yeah, but the thing from Gren is the last time I've casted the match, he can't play safe. He's lacking experience. So I agree that he's a good player, but he really needs to focus more on safe strats and everything else.
Hmm.
Because this was really that really bugged me when I casted that. He was first every round. Everyone after said he was first. And he choked so hard. And this is so unfortunate because he is such a gifted and good player. So he really needs to work on his yeah, he needs to get more experience. And
Hmm.
when you have maps that are 10 minutes long and you have to really drive consistent and don't make mistakes, I don't know if he is actually the right player for that.
Hmm.
But I could see him in there, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, like Carl Jr. said at the podcast, he didn't risk at all because this format itself is basically about who can save the most and
Indeed.
don't be below the eighth place.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, just get one. You can maybe risk it on the first map or whatever, and then get 20 points. But then you need to get those 20 points till the end. Just
Yeah.
the mindset that you have then that must be insane.
Hmm.
Uh,
But talking about Carl Jr. and Gwen, we both saw them in Strasbourg, where I also met you for the first time. Had a lovely subway before a football match there. But how would you summarize the stay at Theater Cup now that you are some months removed? You had time to think about the experience. How would you summarize it?
so I think it was. a dream come for me to come true to just see the Rayter Cup itself, but that everything worked out that good with the VIP access, with meeting the players, even Carl Jr. and Bren. That was really good, and you can really see that this is more than a game. I made the Twitter post, maybe you remember,
Yep.
with the photo of Mad Revolution and all that, all those guys. I mean, there was the fire alarm going on, and we're standing like 2 or 3 hours outside and just continuous talking. And it was just a great experience. And I can just recommend. I'm always saying that, but just meet the guys you know from the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. How would you summarize the motivation overall in Trackmania when you actually meet people in real life? Is that maybe something that makes you stay around for longer? Maybe have something to look forward to, something like, okay, at that event, I'm going to see those faces. So it doesn't only become an online friendship, it's also some sort of real life friendship.
Yeah, I mean, I've already booked my ticket for the Ryder Cup 2020. So, of course, this is something I really look forward to, especially meeting guys like Litello. He's from Eden.
Yep.
Maybe you
Yep.
know him, but he said to me, "Yo, Turbo, unfortunately I can't make it to your or I can't play your tournament." And then I was like, "Yo, I'm really looking forward to seeing you as a Ryder Cup 2020," and he's also there. So I'm really looking forward just to meet all those guys I've already met in the past, and also yeah, like see new players who I didn't know beforehand.
But if you look at the 2020 Cup, you say that you're going there. But I also, when I talk to you, you say, okay, if I don't qualify as a player, then I'm going to go there as a spectator. So is that your overall goal now to actually qualify as a player to that and be on stage in front of 15,000 people?
I mean, this is also a dream scenario for me,
Yeah.
like casting TMGL. But I think I'll definitely try. So why shouldn't I try, right?
Well, how would you summarize the Serrator Cup overall? Are you one of these players that maybe doesn't view it as, okay, maybe he's destroying the competitive scene with his impact, or are you saying that he's helping the game with all of his visibility?
I mean, he's bringing a lot of French people, obviously, into the game, but I think he's really helping the game itself by just hosting not only the Rater Cup, but all other competitions which are related to Trackmania. You had the ZLAN or some other tournament that he had, or just Carl Jr. playing on this charity event, playing Trackmania and having a lot of views, something like that.
Yeah.
I think he's progressing Trackmania in that way, not only because with his streams, but just bringing new blocks. I mean, this is just a cool thing.
Hmm.
I mean, guys don't like them, the no grip or whatever, but I think it's just a nice invention, and yeah, I like it.
And talking about meeting people in real life and talking about meeting Trackmania people, we had this Prague meetup where we didn't have a Trackmania event to go to. We just had a birthday party to go to. Let's not talk about the birthday party too much itself, but how do you summarize the overall meetup besides the birthday party itself?
So I mean, I think we got to know each other pretty good.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember I remember Sunday evening or whatever, or Saturday evening, where I just had a deep talk with Dank, Marley, and some other guys. I don't remember. I think you were on there just about other things, uh, to talk about. I don't know, relationships or whatever. But I mean, you can see that you meet the person because the person is playing Trickmania. But I mean, how long did we talk about Trickmania? Like 10%, five
Yeah.
percent, if
Max.
even.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just to get to know the person and eventually get along together with them pretty good.
Hmm. And how would you sum up the Prague? Are you happy about going there? Are you looking forward to the
It's
next meetup? How would you sum up the Prague itself, the overall trip?
it was really really good. Just think about, we were 20 people from
Yeah.
across the Europe, just yeah, celebrating Scotty's birthday party. That was insane. It was really, it was better than the Zerator Cup this year,
Hmm.
because you could really, yeah, get to know the person just a bit more than just being on the stage like a player, and then you talk to the player and then he's gone already, and maybe you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of met, or like met for a lot in Strasbourg, but in Prague it was something else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like good to bring up because the players, when you go to LAN events, they are there to play competitions. They are not necessarily there to talk with you. But in Prague, everybody was there just to have a good time and get to know each other. That may be the best part. But if you sum up, do you have a moment that's gonna stick out for the rest of your, like, when you look back at it in 5 years, that okay, that was a funny moment. That is something I will never forget. What was the best thing about Prague?
In Prague, there were a lot of good events. Um,
Walking
oh,
1,000 miles with Scotty or what?
I don't know actually. I mean, there were a lot of good things. I mean, the bowling,
Yeah,
what you did, not s- hungover, and then the mini golf with all the other guys. But maybe just that the Prague people who playing Trackmania, for example, Mimi, Danik, B, Buki, all of them just come to our place, and I mean, it was just cool.
yeah.
I don't know, but I don't have any favorite moment. The weekend itself was just great.
Maybe me beating you at some Trackmania tracks on the Trackmania competition we had.
You beat me.
Yeah, because you didn't finish some maps.
I think I finished all maps, right?
No, no, no. I have the
Dude,
documents. I had the documents.
dude, I missed a 300 IQ. Of course, I finished all maps.
No, no. Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
No, no, no. I'm kidding. I think I finished one or two, not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're better than a bomb at least who finished one map out of the 12 or something.
I think I won two maps actually.
Yeah, yeah. You had the most win, I believe.
Yes.
But then you talk about meeting people and maybe be surprised about meeting some people that, oh, I can talk with this guy for other things than Trackmania overall. But who would you sum up maybe surprised you the most that didn't seem like maybe this guy you could connect with online, but once you meet them in real life, you actually had a lot of in common?
I think it was from Prague. It was kind of Milmi because I know him for such a long time, but we got along together so good, and he's just such a nice guy. And then talking about gym here and something else there, and it was just nice because I know him way back from Trackmania United because he played under the name of Milmas, and yeah, I already know him for a long time. So that was the guy from Prague, and maybe in Strasbourg it was actually Carl Jr.
Oh
When
yeah,
I talked with him and the fire alarm, we talked about. I mean, we talked about a lot of streaming, but I just saw that he was just a funny guy and not being like, I have 100K followers, so you can't really feel
yeah.
it. You have not a distance between.
Hmm. Yeah, how would you sum up Milmi? Because from what I hear, he's some sort of controversial figure in the scene. I even had some people saying you should never invite him to the podcast, and that's not. I think it's like two people I heard that,
Hmm.
or the two names I've heard I shouldn't invite. But how would you sum up him when you actually meet him in real life? And is he maybe misunderstood, or why is he so controversial?
I mean, the problem for him, sometimes he needs to think before he speaks. But I think he doesn't mean it in a negative way. So I think he's a really, really nice guy. So at least what I can say. But sometimes he just should be a bit more calm. But he's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I also think he was a nice guy when I meet him in real life. I haven't talked too much online, but in real life he was a cool guy. Not too good at bowling though, but but
Yeah.
attending lands, and we spoke about maybe our goal is to be at the Creator Cup 2020 as a
Ah.
player. But if you want to attend any other lands, you can sign up and just go there. You don't have to qualify. Lyon, Gamers Assembly. Is this something you're looking forward to and maybe planning to actually attend offline events as a player?
Attend as a player. So I think because I'm studying at the moment and all of that, I think I would focus my goals on other things than just attending at a LAN because the players who I actually playing against, they are so good, and I see myself on a good level in the game, but I'm not on the top level. So
Hmm.
I would have need a lot of practice in order to beat those players.
Hmm. So, but do you think that you are a better player in the mixed style that is now currently running as the main style instead of tech?
Yeah, so I think my advantage is to really comprehend fast what I have to do, that I can find a good line or a good alternative for whatever, yeah, like circumstance there is on the map. And I think, yeah, mixed style really suits me well, but I'm not a player who can really push it that much.
Hmm.
I can drive good times fast, but then I can't really push it to the WR,
Hmm.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So it's not something you plan in the future to actually go to events. It's rather to go to Strater Cup and then maybe to some Trackmania meetups.
I think I will try if the circumstances next to
Yeah.
it are good, then I could try. For example, with the Zerator Cup this year, I had a lot of time to train, so I really try harded, and yeah, eventually I choked, but that's something else. Yeah, but I mean, if I have time, of course I will try, but there are more important things for me than to leave everything and just play Trackmania and no life as fuck.
Hmm. But I said that maybe in some couple of years we will see a lot of Trackmania profiles that we know nowadays leave Trackmania because we are getting to an age where there are other stuff in life that is going to be more important. Like you said, there are other stuff in life. How long do you see yourself sticking around in Trackmania, and what would be the key point for you leaving? Is it to get family, to get a real job? What could be a point that makes you leave Trackmania more or less for good?
Maybe if I go abroad for my because I'm studying English,
Yeah.
I'm becoming a teacher, and if I have to go abroad for like one semester, maybe this could be a part where I can really, yeah, get into the game again, or when my PC gets too old or whatever.
Yeah.
But since I have a new PC and all those things, I can still play it on a laptop or whatever. I don't think that I will leave Trackmania in the next foreseeable future because you have those guys like Riodo, for example. I've met him for the first time this year, but I've already known him for 8 years already
Mm,
because we were in the same team in Trackmania United. And I mean, he became a friend of mine, and I think eventually, kind of, you always come back to Trackmania somehow. So if I have a break for like for 3 or 4 months, I will eventually come back.
mm. And you brought up pretty early on this podcast that you have a tournament coming up. I cannot leave without asking you about it and to inform people about it. What do we need to know about this 1,000 followers tournament?
So I was thinking of a concept. Wait, let me open it here. Here it is. I think I was thinking about a concept that I built four maps: Tech, Dirt, Full Speed, and RPG. And I will organize an all-round competition in a cup mode style, so that you have like a cup tree. Then for the first rounds, you will collect X amount, or the like 5 players with X amount of points will go into the next round. Like in Zerator Cup, the first 8 players of the 10 guys from this server will go into the next round, if this makes sense.
Yeah.
And then for the semi-final, you have then cup mode,
Hmm.
and you play all of the tracks in each round. And what the important thing is that I add 100 euros to the prize pool, so that the first person gets 50%, the first person gets 50%, the second one gets 30%, then the third one 15, and the fourth one 5%. And each donation will add up the prize pool, each sub will add up the prize pool, and each bid donation add up the prize pool as well too. Yeah, like I got a 30 euro donation from Big Dog, and now the prize pool is 130 euros. So
Oh.
as easy as that.
Hmm. And when is the competition taking place? When is the sort of deadline to donate if they want to donate? And do they need to sign up if they want to compete as a player?
Yeah, they need to sign up onto my Discord. So if you're interested into that, I think it was a bit complicated how I described it now, but you can watch the information video and just join my Discord if you're interested in playing the cup. The cup will be on the 15th of December, and even if I get donations in the final round, those ones will be added up to the prize pool.
Hmm. And what is motivation then? Is it to celebrate yourself? Is it to maybe get into event hosting? What is the motivation behind actually hosting an event? Because it takes a lot of time, like you said, you use 5 hours to build a tech map. You're gonna use a lot of time to organize it. What is the motivation behind it?
Just to find a new side of Trackmania, and of course to give the community something back, to have maybe some new people finding me, of course, that they will maybe in the future watch my stream. I don't know, but just to have a competition which guys are having fun of with, and of course celebrating my 1,000 followers with that because I want to give something back because I wouldn't have 1,000 followers without my viewers, right?
Yeah,
Makes
that's
sense.
the reason behind the number.
Yeah. Hmm. Thinking.
But yeah, I'm running out of questions here. But is there any topics that you find relevant in Jackmania that you want to bring out to the viewers? Do you want to highlight some people and maybe some things people don't really know about yourself or the game itself?
So I think some people don't have me really on the radar that I'm actually casting.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm casting and I'm loving it. So that's what I want to like add up. But I mean, if I cast something, then it's a rather a known cup, a French cup, which are not a lot of English speaking players are playing. Um, I don't know. Do you have something?
No, I'm running out of topics, but most I always say because we are going to talk about gonna talk to each other after this podcast, then both of us are going to come up with some topics. But
Yeah.
that's a good reason to invite you back on a podcast or to invite you back on the pre-talk before the Strater Cup 2020 and the post-talk like you did this year, right?
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Bringing up the numbers, like it was about 1,000 views, and at the Trackmania Grand League, I believe it was like 80 views. So maybe you are the reason why the views got so hyped, right?
Of course. That's always me. Look at me. No, just
And we need to find a small room with 40 degrees plus plus and 8 people in it, right?
yeah, and then we get 1 million views.
Yeah, easy life.
Easy, man.
At least if you win it or at least qualify. This
Ha
year
ha
we have
ha.
Matt as a player representative, but we need a winner next time to after the show.
Whoa, we had a finalist.
Yeah, Matt was there in the post fight or post talk.
Yeah. So, and he played very good this year.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's hope we see him next year, right?
Yeah. But
But you,
I think so, yeah.
yeah, I also think so. But do you have any final words for the viewers? Then someone you want to thank, someone that has maybe helped your Trackmania career to actually become 10 years old.
I mean, I can just thank the community itself that it's so humble and mature at some point that we're just like being nice to each other and not being a toxic community like League of Legends. That was just the best comparison for me when I used to play League of Legends. The community was just so toxic, and in Trackmania you don't have that. And if you have that, then you really, yeah, like talk to each other, and then everything is good eventually.
Hmm.
At least from my perspective, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but yeah, I can just thank the community itself that it's just that good.
Let's just end it on a positive note here. The community in Trackmania is great, and that's why we all are sticking around for such a long time and using so many hours on it, right?
Indeed. I mean, I think almost 10,000 hours for me. I
Oh,
guess
damn.
so.
You're beating me like fuck, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe at 10,000 hours of traveling soon. Too hard here in Norway.
Hello.
Hello, Cuba Libre. But yeah,
Uh,
looking forward to meeting you in real life again. It's probably going to be in Paris at the Strater Cup. If not, I hope we meet before that and not after it. So the Strater Cup and well, hopefully before it, right?
yeah, I think this will be the I mean, before that, I can't really think about another.
Just come to Norway and drink some Cuba Libre. Hello.
Ah, yeah, that's also a good idea. And then, of course, maybe the next meetup in Budapest.
Budapest, yeah. Let's hope it goes better than the previous one.
Yeah, the alcohol is cheaper there, right?
Oh, that's not a good sign. But yeah, thanks so much for stepping up and doing this. It's always a pleasure to talk with some Czechmania people, at least when you are also knowing them in real life and somewhat a good friend with them in real life.
Indeed. So thanks for the invitation. And yeah, what can I say? I mean, I'm streaming on Twitch. If you like it, maybe leave a follow. And yeah.
Make sure to check out the competition the 15th of December, right?
Ah, yeah, do that as well. I'm forgetting about my own competition.
But that's it for
Bro.
today. I have another podcast now to jump to, so
Yeah,
thank you
what
so
a
much for
busy
stepping up
man.
and bye bye.